Hello, sixth graders. So today we're going to begin our second topic. So yesterday we were reviewing all about exponents. Today we're going to have a little bit of a review of order of operations. All right, so we talked a little bit about order of operations in fifth grade, and today is going to be a little bit of an extension on that. All right, so what I wanted to go over really quick before we even began that are some rules when it comes to multiplying and adding and subtracting decimals. So the first thing I want to go over is this little bullet point right here. When adding or subtracting decimals, the decimal point should be what? So if you look at this example, yes, this is what we want to do. No, this is not what we want to do. So the decimal point should always be lined up. We want those decimals lined up so I can draw a line straight through those and I can just add and then drop that decimal straight down at the bottom. So make sure when you're adding or subtracting, they're lined up. The next one, when dealing with parentheses, always start on the blank and work your way blank. Okay, what do you think that is? So there's a little example for that. It's you want to always start where and work your way where. What do you think that would be? All right, so for that one, okay, for that, it's always start inside and work your way out. So for example, for parentheses, you always want to start on the inside, so on the parentheses. Once you solve that, then focus on any brackets that you have. Once you solve that, then you can focus on the braces, all right? And that's what those are called. These are parentheses, these are brackets, and these are braces, okay? So always start on the inside and then work your way out towards the outside of the problem. And again, just like we did last year, showing your work at every single step so it's nice and organized. Now the next bullet point says, when multiplying decimals, blank the total number of decimal places. So for example, I said this one, there's 2, so there's 3 total decimal places. So if you remember, you want to count the total number of decimal places. Then it says blank and multiply regularly. So here we don't have 4 2/10 anymore, or 21/100ths, we have 42 and 21. So it says then take them out. So then you're going to take them out and multiply regularly like you usually would, and you get 882 when you do it for this example. Finally, if you look here, there were 3 decimal places total, so you're going to move it in once, twice, 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. So you're going to finally put them back in. So really that can actually just be, so finally you're going to, we'll write add them back in so that you're left with a decimal in your final answer. So multiplying decimals, take them out, count how many decimal places you have, multiply, replace how many decimal places you took out in your problem. All right, so that's just a little review. Now we're going to get to order of operations. So on your next slide, okay? Now, again, this problem looks pretty intense, but we can do it if we follow the rules. So really quick, I want to review order of operations. We have parentheses first. Then we have exponents, which we just talked about yesterday. Then we have multiplication and division, left to right. And then we have addition and subtraction, left to right. So I said this earlier, these are parentheses. These are called brackets. And then these funny looking ones are called braces. So the first thing we do in this problem right here, we work our way inside. So we're looking at anything that has to do with either 1, 2, 3 of these things. So we work our way inside first. So I'm going to do this 7 3/10 plus 3 6/10. So add that together. What do you get when you add 7 and 3/10 plus 3 and 6/10? What do you get as your answer? Well, if you add those up, again, if you want to do it on the side, line up those decimal places. We have 9, 10. So we end up getting 10 and 9/10 in that box. Now, we also want, this is the answer to this problem right here. So we're rewriting our expression. Now we also want to subtract 4 and 7/10 because that is in the brackets. So we do 10 and 9/10 minus 4 and 7/10. Okay, and again, you can do the work on a separate piece of paper. So figure out what that is. Line up those decimal places. I end up getting 2, 6. So you end up getting 6 and 2/10. So our expression now is 6 and 2/10 because we just found out what all of these parentheses are. So that's gone now. That's a lot of writing that I just did, but that's gone now. Okay, I'll erase that. This is out of the picture, and now we're just left with 6 and 2/10 because that's what we just solved up here. 6 and 2/10 plus 1 and 8/10 minus 2 squared, or 2 to the second power. Okay, so now this is what we're left with. So the next thing is exponents. So 2 to the power of 2 is the same thing as 2 times 2, which is 4. So now our expression, it's a lot simpler now, is 6 and 2/10 plus 1 and 8/10 minus 4. Now the next step is multiplication and division, which we have none in this problem, so we move to the next step. So the first thing we're going to do, it's addition and subtraction in the next step, and it's always left to right. So we're going to start with 6 and 2/10 plus 1 and 8/10, and we end up getting, if we line up the decimal places, we end up getting 8. 8 and 0/10, which is the same thing as 8. And the second step is subtract 8 minus 4, and we end up getting 4 as our final answer. So it's pretty crazy to go from this problem up here, do all of that work following the order of operations that are right here, and to end up getting 4 as our answer. So much more condensed. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to have you guys try some out on your own. So I'm going to give you some time. I want you to complete this and this on your own, okay? What I would suggest is, like we did last year, drawing some arrows to kind of help you get started, okay? And rewriting your work at each step so you don't lose place and you don't make a silly mistake. So take that time now. So let's see. We're going to start with the parentheses because that's the first order of operations. I have my little arrow, okay? We're going to add 3 and 1/10 plus 6 and 4/10, and we end up getting 9 and 5/10. And I'm going to bring down the 4 squared, and I'm going to bring down the plus 4 and 5/10 because we want to rewrite everything again. Now we're going to do our exponents. So that's what's next. So 4 to the power of 2 is 4 times 4. So that's 16. 16 minus 9 and 5/10 plus 4 and 5/10. Okay, now we're just left with subtraction and addition, but it's always left to right if we're left with both of those things. So 16 minus 9 and 5/10, that's our first step. Okay, what I would do if you're subtracting these, okay, you can write it on the side. I would add 2 zeros at the end after the decimal place for 16 so that you can easily write that 9 and 5/10. So we have 0. We make that a 5, make that a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. Can't do that, so that's a 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. So we end up getting 6 5/10. I'm going to erase a little bit so we can see this. So 6 5/10 plus 4 5/10, okay? And we end up getting 6 plus 4 is 10. Half plus half is 1. We end up getting 11 as our final answer, okay? Again, showing all of your steps of work, okay? The next one, 152 divided by 8. Well, that's the first thing we're going to have to do. Now you can do a long division problem, okay? You're typing in 152 divided by 8, and you get 19. And then we still have the brackets, the multiplication, and the 2 to the power of 3. We did not solve that. We have to rewrite it. Minus 52. Don't forget about that minus 52. So all we did was just we took it from this, and we solved 152 divided by 8 because it was the parentheses. And now we have a little bit of a shorter problem. And now the next step is to focus on these brackets, and inside those brackets, the exponents, okay? Because following these order of operations to our left. So 2 to the power of 3, which is 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then we have 8 times 19 in our brackets, minus 52. Okay, so 8 times 19. If we do that multiplication, we end up getting 152. And then we rewrite the minus 52. Every step we rewrite. 152 minus 52. Oh, well, that is 100. And that is our final answer, okay? So my biggest suggestion for these order of operations is to take your time, okay? A little different than last year because the numbers are a little bit more intense and we have some extra exponents thrown in there to kind of trick us a little bit, all right? But take your time. Remember, you were really good with this last year. Rewrite each step as you do it, and you will not make a mistake that way, all right? So attached to this is going to be a Google form where you're going to have a little bit more practice on order of operations, okay? So complete that homework just like you did yesterday, and that will get you a little bit more practice on this topic, all right? Okay, enjoy your day. See you later. Bye.